Hello, guys. Looks like a major possible revelation. And no, I'm not reaching or speculating here. This is directly from the news reports themselves. And things are lining up just to may help you to appreciate what's about to come, my friend. This is possibly, I don't know yet, I have not read it. I glanced at it, and it looks like there's a chance that this video is one of the most important ones of the year. Well, top three, in my opinion. But in terms of getting answers, it would be number one. So to appreciate that fact, let me set you up with the facts here. I've been covering fires, right? And certain of these fires, I honed them to two or three neighborhoods in general, happening over and over. And you remember those neighborhoods. The reason we were speculating who did it or who could be linked, because we don't know until now possibly, is it could have been the mob, the classical Italian mob, because it was in neighborhoods that they're present in or live in, or it was some mysterious Arabic mafia, if you will, for a lack of a better word. But it concerns that community, not the normal people, but the criminal element. You have to be careful here. Too many innocent people to just say, "Oh, they're that." It's not like that. It's not like that, you know. So you saw it. It was to be direct to make you appreciate. It was in Chomedy-Laval. Lots of them going down there. Fires burning. And the north shore of Montreal, right before you do cross into Laval. And it was the Ville Saint-Laurent areas, burning vehicles within block distance of each other. This is not new. This has been going for the last 2-3 years. We've covered practically all of them. We've had Molotovs sent at Arabic grocery stores that I actually visited myself. Clean places, nice areas. We had rounds being set off at homes over there too. So those are the areas I want us to focus today, because then today's news comes in. It's pretty big, man. It's pretty freaking big. And as Adam Rogers says, let's get down to business, my friend. So so we don't miss anything. We will only do 2 today to try to keep it short, but I'm going to translate word for word, so you can not miss anything at all. You decide what it says. I just translate it. And you decide what is important or not. So the picture here, clearly somewhere in Montreal, you see a fire. Now, I did not cover that. A few days ago, there was a major fire in the old Montreal. If you've been following our channel, this was not the first, but the first major one. However, the first major one cannot be explained for the reason of the one from last week. It's not the same reason, so let's not make that mistake. The previous one, we spoke about it. It was a psychopath diagnosed from prison. He apparently he was an element or a friend or an associate who may have done jobs for the bikers during the biker war era. But the guy on Halloween, putting that aside, that's the psychopath I told you about on Halloween night. He wore a Jason mask or some Halloween mask, and he went to someone's home and he completed an assassination. And I think he did that for fun because he killed a woman there. So I don't think anyone was giving him a contract to go kill some woman. I don't think so. But he went to prison, and the staff said this guy enjoys this stuff. He enjoys inflicting pain. He's a real high-level psychopath. He's very dangerous. Then the guy escaped from prison, and as he escaped from prison, he was hiding in the old port, and he was getting his socks off, or you say his rocks off. I don't know how I forgot the expression. I always forget my expressions. And what he did is he was having fun setting off fires, and he set a fire in the old port. patrimonial building, whatever. He burned that, and the cops had no leads, but they were questioning people on the scene. Guess who was on the scene, enjoying his craft there? So then they realized, wait a sec. I don't know how they figured out, but they figured out his identity, and this guy was not supposed to be outside. He actually escaped from prison, apparently. So that was the first one. Putting that aside, now we have another major fire happening in the old port a few days ago. So I was not going to cover that unless because the fires also happen. We're not going to cover all the fires in the planet, in the city, because there's fires don't just happen for extortion, stuff like that. So there was no reason to. However, now we might be getting some information. I appreciate it, Adam Rogers. He says, forget the short streams, the real crafty ones like the longer stream. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, man. But we are a niche. Fortunately, we are a niche, man. We are a niche. We're a small minority. The vast majority, they can't. They don't like that. That's just a fact. I can't blame them. I understand. It's television. You have a few minutes of your time, and you got to maximize it because you're a slave in Canada. You're basically slaving away 2-3 jobs, or the only job you have. They hold you by the neck, and you come in. You only have an hour left at night to even say hello to your children, and that's totally normal, right? That's totally normal now. Everyone's accepting this as normal. Neighbors don't say hi to each other. Everyone's antisocial, buried their heads on the phone. They come home, they just want to be left alone because the disrespect people in the Western world, the way they treat each other when you just go by grocery stores. There is no... they don't treat service people like human beings anymore. They don't. Everyone's in for themselves. Their hands in the cookie jar. So they're tired. They come home and they need to maximize it, and it'll feel like they wasted their time. I completely get it, So it's not for everyone, but if they don't really like it at all, then they should move on. Absolutely. I'm focused on guys like you, exactly, my man, like you, Adam Rogers, Gagnon, Alain, and for me, it's also a hangout. Thanks a lot, guys. Sorry about that. Mr. Fuji says, finally caught a crafty live. Not much news in BC. What's up, everyone? Salute, Mr. Fuji. I think it's the first I heard from you. Welcome, buddy. Welcome. So getting into the story, guys. This is a major story, man. You'll see why. It's going to blow your mind, man. And it's going to also hurt to read this. It's going to hurt to read this. A mother and a daughter of 7 years old perished in this fire that ravaged a patrimonial building. This right here, I'm not saying it's residential. Well, I guess it's residential, or I'm not even sure, man. In the old Montreal on the Thursday to Friday night, like 2 nights ago, 2 or 3 nights ago. Let's say 2 nights ago or Sunday, right? This drama unfolded in the latest recent episode of the War for Pizza that are delivering each other 3 criminal groups. And in the midst of it, the victims are restaurant owners and bar owners of the metropolitan city of Montreal who are victims to all this. Does that sound like a bell? Does that ring a bell, my friend? All these months of hard work with you, translating these news as they happen, feeling mundane, never having an answer for you, just saying this bar burned last night at 2 a.m. as the others are in this neighborhood, and then reminding you what happened previously in that neighborhood a few weeks before, and in a very vague manner because my memory is bad. Do you remember that? Week after week, month after month, doing that for you and promising you that eventually, with time, it's going to pay off and it's going to taste that much better. Could this be it, my friend? Our friendship, you and I, over time, culminating to this point, to this moment today. I think it will, buddy. Because I don't believe people are imagining all these links together, All these coincidences being imagined. I don't think so, friend. So let's look at it. And you see Danielle Renault's there. I love seeing that. We have Maïssa Ferra. She's been covering Underworld there a lot. Fanny Arcan as well. And we have Vincent Larouche. Let's thank these 4 people. They are the real content producers who are giving us access to all this. They're doing the hard work. Thank you very much to you guys. And also for not gatekeeping. not gatekeeping, allowing people like us to translate so we can give it to the rest of Canada and the rest of the world, and even to the USA. They could come enjoy it with us. All right. So the police of Montreal confirmed Friday night that the two, bodies they found underneath the ravages, but without revealing their identities. Well, now this newspaper, La Presse, has reliable sources that confirmed that it was a mother and an infant that lost their lives. And even, it says here, even cops that are among the most hardened, that seen it all, even among them, they are in shock at the horror and absurdity of the situation, it says. Now, as to the link of the war for pizzo, for people who don't know this is pizzo is like you pay the tax to the mafia, right? Question is, which mafia? Because this term does not have to be used, although it is a, let's say, Italian word, derived from that. This tradition of taxing people is not an Italian thing either. So they're just using that word, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's Italian mob related. I just want to throw that disclaimer out there, although I have no idea what it's about. Well, let's figure it out. But I'm assuming, my hunch tells me. Let's just check. But they mentioned earlier 3 criminal groups. They said the word battling each other out for pizzo in the territory. Now, does that mean they're battling each other? Or does it just mean, no, they're just each one individually trying to extort on the island? I'm going to go more on option 2 here. But let's keep going. So, as to the war for pizzo, the privileged hypothesis by our sources of La Presse here, who's, they've delivered tons of bombshells for us, some crazy stuff we would have never known, And I like to see Daniel Renault, and I'm sold. So, according to a privileged hypothesis from sources of La Presse, people who are close to the investigation, etc., who demanded to be anonymous, of course, because they'll lose their jobs, right? Because they're not authorized to really speak about this. But we do appreciate that they do speak about this. So it says numerous people were evacuated in this picture. So I'm assuming it was a residential home. Okay? I'm going to assume this. The word pizzo appeared in the mafia in Italy, it says here, but it was popularized in Quebec after the book Mafia Inc. I don't really think so. I think if it's an Italian word, there's nothing that... Okay, I guess you're just saying that it became more popular in Quebec. Well, yeah, they're so isolated from the rest of the world that for them, pizza was the first time they heard it. I'm sure that all across the Anglo-sphere in America, they've heard this tons of times before. It's nothing new. But that's what happens when you isolate yourself in a little echo chamber sometimes, It'd be the first time ever you heard about it in like 2005 in a book called Mafia Inc. by none other than André Cédio, the pupils. The guy with the cane eyes. He always looks like he's heard some serious ish. He's actually spoken to godfathers or mafiosos long before Félix Séguin. That's a fact. He knows the tradition of the mafia very well. He's spoken to some real old school cats, from the 90s and maybe 80s even. Guys, he's been doing it for a while, man. So his pupils are always, this is the word, dilated. He looks like he's traumatized 24/7 when he speaks. So that's the guy who wrote the book, the classic book, Mafia Inc., about the Montreal Mafia. Published in 2010. So the first time they heard the pizzo in the echo chamber of Quebec is in 2010, But pizzo is a name given for a sum of money or tax that must be paid by commerces, restaurants, bars, clubs maybe, etc. Or even it could be grocery stores too, right? And entrepreneurs to the mafia in exchange for its protection. Well, it really just means in exchange for not getting their place burned, But in reality, it is a form of extortion, which in Montreal and its neighboring areas, is not exclusive to the mafia or to the bikers. So not exclusive to the mafia or the bikers. Now, to be fair, the bikers, There seem to have some civility to them. I've never heard of them extorting a restaurant, extorting this, and I thank God for that. Thank God for that. That there's some form of honor somewhere. They don't do that. I don't never heard about this. Now, the cane business is something different. I absolutely concede that part. And now they want to get into the gambling business if there already are. The evidence elements is there, and it's not speculation. Then we have the mob had been there. Okay, let's keep going. Certain codes are no longer respected. La Presse spent part of the night, Thursday to Friday. Remember, that's when the fire happened, right? If I recall reading this in the beginning, it said. So La Presse, these journalists, whoever, they spent Thursday to Friday during that time with police officers of the Eclipse Squad. So Eclipse Squad is the most famous, because within the police there are different teams, right? They're specializing in different things. In Montreal, Eclipse Squad is the most infamous, the most, let's say, legendary because of the years of service, the things that they have seen throughout the years. It's not a new team that was made like 5 years ago, like for Opération Unhealthy, Malsain. You know what I mean? Like, that's recent. No, Eclipse been here for a long time. They've seen things. Maybe the team members changed, they retired, maybe new ones came in, but the name of the brand is Eclipse. Okay? So, just to put that in perspective here. So the officers of the Eclipse on Thursday to Friday night, these guys were hanging out with them, these newspaper reporters, and they noticed when they were with them, they followed them as they were doing surveillance of licensed establishments in order to gather information on organized crime. Not something that surprises us. We read a few weeks ago, after the 14-year-old kid who tried to burn the bunker of the Red Devils. But now they say it's the Hells Angels. It changes every other article, I promise you that. But we remember that. As soon as that happened, they said they're going to go hit all they formed a team with multiple police departments. They said they were going to hit a bunch of towns. Obviously, Montreal was one of them. Obviously, Laval was one of them. Obviously, Quebec City was one of them. And there was like a few others. I will never remember the names, But we read that together. So now you're seeing it in action. But it's the bars. They have specific names of places they know they need to go to. Right? That was the point of it. They had the names of the bars. They have a specific list. They were going to go one after the other. So here you have it in action. And La Presse went with them on one of these runs. By the way, this is nothing new. In British Columbia, they've been doing that 2-3 decades ago. During the Bindi Johal era. They've been doing that. There's actual footage of that if you check online, even if it's very little. So, keep going here. So, La Presse says, we have visited multiple establishments, certain ones who were even targets of extortion attempts. You see? And they don't mention it, but probably even firebombing or things like that. Attempted firebombing, probably. They probably just didn't mention that. There's a good chance of this. So they're saying Sergeant Nicolas Giguère at the middle here, during a visit to a licensed establishment Thursday to Friday. As you can see, who do you think took this picture? Right? Great article, man. Good writing, good storytelling. Now, it says, whereas before, these establishments had to pay pizzo to a single organization that controlled the area or sector, they are nowadays, in contrast, targeted by 2 or more gangs who want their piece of the pie also. And they don't give a F that this bar is already under the protection of something else. Okay, so now we reading this, I was wrong when I said there was option 1, option 2. Remember earlier? I was leaning on option 2, but we got option 1 confirmed here. Now, for you guys who were confused, maybe some of you jumped in the middle, you're skipping through the videos. That's fine. That's why I'm here with you, pal. I'm going to take care of this. We were wondering if the beginning they said multiple crime groups are extorting Montreal Island business people, restaurants and bars and clubs and all that. And he said they were fighting each other for the pizza. Now, we could have meant many things. It could have meant they're fighting. It could have just meant they're all trying to extort people there individually. So that's about it. They're not fighting each other, but they're competing, right? Or they literally are fighting each other. Well, if you look at this, if I'm a crime group and I walk in and I'm asking for pizza and you say, no, this bar's already controlled and we're already paying someone, we're under the whatever, this group. And if the other group says, we don't give a F, you're paying us. Now, at this point, can you call it a conflict? I would say yes. I would definitely call this a conflict. It's disrespectful to the previous organization because maybe the guy can't pay both now. So what happens? He's afraid of you. He's afraid of them. He might have to be making a choice now. So there's a conflict there. So that's why we're saying option 2. Let's get going to the next one. La grosse différence. The big difference in the middle of organized crime or in the underworld is that, because they were saying what today versus before, right? He's saying that before there was a certain understanding. Bikers, the mafia, and the others were under the same umbrella, right? For example, you had Gregory Woolley bringing the gangs all under his umbrella, and he was friendly with the bikers. He was a biker himself at a certain point, so he was under the mafia umbrella too. He was protected by the presence and life when he was alive of Maurice Montboucher, who also had alliance with the Vito Rizzuto clan. So it all combined well together. And as we know it, the day they took Vito Rizzuto and they extradited him, bringing him to Colorado, right before he took the plane, he told the investigators, you guys don't get it, do you? You just wait. You're going to turn this city upside down. The moment I get on this plane, you'll see how big of a threat these street gangs are. I was holding this city together. You see what I'm saying here? So anyhow, they give us an example, and there's another quote. So I guess they were speaking to Sergeant Nicolas, the guy in the middle here. So this is all his quotes. For example, the rackets of protection before, there was only one group that did that. And that group was under the umbrella of the power. So whatever, that alliance I was talking to you about. But now, there are certain locations that are getting extorted, firebombed, or even targeted by rounds, by multiple players who are trying to grab a market share. Whereas before, there was only one single gang that did that. Now, there are 3. Note the number 3. It's going to be very important, it seems. I haven't read this article in advance. But I don't take lightly at this. This is what we want. So he says now there are three groups. And none of them have respect towards the organization that is already, quote, protecting the location. Well, protecting is a big word, right? Extorting this location. So now we got the, I guess, cops are present, is what it's saying here in the title. The officers of Eclipse, the anti-gang squad I told you about, did not want to reveal the name of gangs implicated in this battle of 3. But according to our sources of La Presse, it would be none other than, check this one, guys. Check this one. Arab Power and gangs directed by Atna Ona, alias Tupac. Remember this? Atna Ona? Remember I showed you the picture 3, 4, 5 years ago of him in a park meeting with there was a picture, literal picture of him meeting in a park with Hell's Angels. And they had their bodyguards all around the park, making sure no one's gonna, like, if there's cops or people walking in, maybe it's a plot of assassination. They had convened a meeting in the middle of the park, obviously not fully trusting each other 100% either. So do you remember that picture? That guy, they said he was gang boss, and they said at that time that he was at odds with the Gregory Woolley. They didn't like him. He may have even made some disparaging remarks on his maybe Twitter, Instagram. I'm not even sure. That's what I recall. It was something like that as well. That Atna Ona, you know? So that guy. We have, so let's repeat this so we can read this correctly, because without the interruption, so we can simmer in our minds here. The police of Eclipse did not want to reveal the names of the gangs implicated, the 3 gangs. But according to our sources, La Presse, the names are Arab Power and the gangs, the multiple gangs directed by Atna Ona, alias Tupac. And lastly, Jean-Philippe Célestin, member of the Marauders, puppet school of the Hells Angels of Montreal. These 3 groups. Very interesting twist of events. These 3. The ransoms demanded are in the tens of thousands of dollars, according to sources. On September 12, 2024, a hoodied person entered the restaurant called Moi. I'm assuming an Asian restaurant? Not sure. En rue de la Montagne. That should be in a downtown area, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Plateau Mont-Royal, I'm not sure. It's going to be just too important not to do this. For me, it's going to help me a lot. So I'm zooming out. No, not even. My bad, man. Yeah, no. It's not even close to there. But it is downtown, but it's not even close to there. So we have Bonaventure, Lucien Lallier. Yeah, this is literally freaking downtown. Okay. That's where they're extorting. It's very good to know. Yeah, that would, yeah. I wanted to know, honestly, I wanted to know if it was Plateau Mont-Royal or somewhere else. It answered my question. So that's the restaurant would be somewhere on this street here. You see how far it goes? It goes like this all the way. Sorry about that. It goes up here, all the way here. So it's definitely the heart of downtown. All right, so the hooded man enters the restaurant Maui en rue de la Montagne. With a hammer, he breaks all the tables and screams to the restaurant owner that he will have to pay before running away. September 12th, 2024. Now they're going backwards. Going to July 18th. A Molotov cocktail is thrown to the restaurant called Medusa on Rue Drummond. Now, you remember we covered that one. I do remember the name Medusa. There is no doubt about it. You see Rue de la Montagne? Did you see where Rue de la Montagne is? Do you see where Rue Drummond is? Do you see how close they are? Right next to each other. And just to tell you, if you're wondering how downtown this is, if you ever came to visit, I almost guarantee if you ever came to Montreal, one of the places you would have went to is St. Catherine Street. This is St. Catherine Street, right there. The most gangster place in all of Montreal, with all the crime groups, decades and decades, from the first generation of the mafia, before the Rizzuto clan, all that. That's favorite area. Has always been, with Mansfield right there, René Lévesque right there. So let's keep going. Rue Drummond. So that's July 18th. Going backwards a few more days. July 12th. Rounds were fired at a restaurant called Palma. Rings a bell for me. We definitely must have covered this. We covered all these particular ones, guaranteed. In the angles of Peel and Wellington. Let me just, to show you this one, it's going to be more south. It got to be this, right? We said Peel, I'm not crazy, right? Peel and Wellington. Did you see? I tell you it was more south. There you go. This is Wellington. Remember the street yesterday we talked about? There was a fire. There was a. Was it yesterday? Yesterday, right? We covered a criminal. Either they let off rounds. Yes. No, it was a fire. Was it? Or was it a? I think it was a Molotov. Yesterday we spoke about a Molotov happening near where? Where? Near Wellington Street. Given, to be fair, it would be crossing down here the other one because we talked about points. It could have been down here. Sorry, it could have been down here, but he said it was. They did say it was Point St. Charles, right? They did say it was Point St. Charles. So yeah, it would be more probably down here-ish. Probably down here-ish. The most important street, one of the most important streets in the Southwest that you should know about. It will repeat itself again and again. Very historical area. I know this place, well, most of it, like the back of my hand. So here you have Palma is located right on the edge. Yesterday I told you that Point St. Charles. I remember I told you 5-minute drive, if and you'll be at downtown. Doesn't that from Wellington? Didn't I tell you? You go like this, boom, you're literally downtown now, and you would go up here. Remember Lucien Lallier? We just read that in Drummond Street and Rue de la Montagne. You see Rue de la Montagne, how down it goes? Look, it goes all the way down here. Literally crosses Wellington. Palma's right here. They love that area, huh? They want the money from that area, huh? So, 12th of July, they let off round on Palma restaurant, on Peel and Wellington. And they're saying, and there's many more we're not even going to get into. There's more restaurants that got their wig split, if you will. Now, the restaurant targeted. The restaurant, they say here. So which one? Let's find out. They're going to focus on one. The fires of Thursday to Friday was declared at approximately 2:40 in the morning, checks out, as it usually does, on a building of 3 floors on the intersection of Notre-Dame and Bon Secours. All right. And on a restaurant called Loam. Restaurant Loam. It's going to be this one for sure. So, just to give you the, you know what I'm saying? What's the point of just showing you that? You got to see how close it is to the previous, etc., etc. So we had Wellington here. Remember the other restaurant was somewhere down here. We went to Point St. Charles down here. So this is definitely not right next to it. It's not even close. We're entering, let me just double check here. Am I crazy? We're heading towards Montboucher's Bastion. Just out of lore, I'm telling you this. It's still a ways. It's there, but it's in the middle between both. Now remember, there's tons of junkies in this area. Probably one of the highest junkie population probably the highest in all of Quebec is going to be right here. Tons of money to be made. One of the most coveted areas indeed. And you see how close it is to downtown. You have the Plateau Mont-Royal, the Bohemian place. Anyhow, Restaurant Loham is right here. So if you came to visit Montreal, there's a chance you would drive by this right here, Basilica of Montreal, right of Notre Dame, right here. You'd probably be there. So it's not that. So just to tell you, this is if I recall. I hope I'm not lost here. I think this is I'm not lost, right? It's the old Montreal, the old port, in other words. Yeah, this is the old port, Le Vieux Montréal. There you go. Sometimes I lose myself. So I hate downtown now. I don't even want to go anywhere near there. But you see the old port. So, okay, put that in perspective. So it's not just Restaurant Loam. You have to know this. They're extorting the old port. Keep that in mind. Restaurants in the old port. Does that make sense? Yes, it's coveted. Money to be made there. Partying 24/7, all that. They want to own the entire block. So let's see what's going on here. 2:40, they set it off. Okay. La Presse obtained cameras and images of surveillance that shows a suspect that's masked, all in black, approaching the building just before the apparition of the flames, because he lit the place. Let's look. So here's a picture here. Can't tell much. He's all black, hoodied up, face hidden. Smart. Here you have him. Again, clearly holding something, right? Now here he is approaching the restaurant that we were speaking about, that he's going to complete the mission with. He's getting in front of the door. And we're back to the first picture. Okay. So our sources confirmed to La Presse that the modus operandi of the suspect corresponds to those same ones for the misdeeds committed previously against other licensed establishments of downtown. What is he talking about? The methods that he's using. Let's leave it at that. We don't have more details than that. Now, giving us a name of an owner. Riyad Hassani, the owner of the restaurant Loam, the one in the Old Port. I don't understand what he said. He was in the Black Friday. So maybe he had no idea. I'm not sure what they're trying to allude here, but doesn't matter. Now, they got a quote from him. He says, "It is too early to answer your questions. Me too. Even me, I could not approach it." I guess he's saying, I have no idea what he's saying. Honestly, I have got no idea. Maybe he says the investigators are doing their job. So I guess he just found out. It's maybe early in the morning. This is a quote on the day it happened, right? Because we saw this is in the past. Where is it? Loam. I don't even remember where Loam. Lost myself in my memory. My apologies. We had a Mau restaurant. We had a Medusa. We had a Palma. My apologies. Now I'm back. Sorry, I got lost in my train of thoughts. This article today is about a fire that happened on the Old Port, right? We talked about. There you go. I was completely lost in my reading of this, analyzing things for you. So my job is to put everything together as best as I can. So I apologize. So this article, how do we start this? How did all this mess start for us? Where did we come in? Today we opened the newspaper. We saw that it says that on the night of Thursday to Friday, there was a major fire in the old Montreal, and it killed a mother and a child, right? So here it seems like there was a building, and inside of the building, maybe on top, there was people living there, because they maximize real estate over there. They don't just have like one building with a restaurant in such a prestigious area. No. The people there's going to be residences on top, I imagine, and the restaurant at the main floor. Now, I'm deducting this, but it's highly likely, right? So that's where this restaurant Loam comes in. Get it? So at 2:40 a.m. is when that thing happened, and we got the area. It was right here. Now, that's the suspect. This is new. This is recent stuff, guys. This is for Thursday to Friday. So now they spoke to Riyad Hassani, and he awakened to this, and he couldn't really answer. He says, "Look, I couldn't even visit the place. The cops are still checking it out. And it's early morning hours. He's probably surprised." Okay, so far so good, guys. Let's keep going. He did not want to discuss the phenomenon of extortion that was touching multiple restaurants in the downtown area, and said that he will allow the investigation to run its course. So he's saying that in likelihood, the death of the woman and the child is probably linked to criminal groups that are harassers. So the pressure to lead to arrest is probably going to start increasing. I need to remind you guys, the Rock Machine versus Hell's Angel war really took a major turning point with the focus of the cops and the lawmakers when that child, Daniel Desrochers, got unfortunately exploded by a Hell's Angel. I can't remember. Possibly by a Hell's Angel. Was it? I forgot the name of the guy, the psychopath. Who they had invited people to come negotiate at a bunker or something. They're enemies, or I'm not too sure, or resellers of stupefyers who they did not trust. I'm not too sure about this, but he had come to visit them at the bunker, and then as he was leaving, I believe, if it's not that, forget it. But for sure, what happened is they had a remote detonator of a bomb. They were going to detonate it from far. They saw the kid was playing. Instead of waiting, he said, nah, he pressed the button and he killed the kid. And once that happened, there was outrage province-wide, and they really cracked on the bikers then. That's the middle point where it really went. It went from 0 to 100 real quick on the part of police, and they started to bust some balls. You know what I'm saying? So to give you a perspective of what this sentence truly means, he didn't mention it, but that's why I'm here for you, pal, to give you context, to give you a bigger image of everything. He says that the death of the woman and the innocent child is linked to criminal groups that are harassing restaurants, and the pressure, and he says the likelihood is that the pressure will start to increase for arrests to happen in the following days. So what interests me about this sentence is we're about to get some answers. If they start cracking people, if they start proceeding to search warrants, searches. You know how this channel worked, right? It's usually like that. You've been with me, pal. We'll open the news again, you and me, in a couple of days, in the next few weeks, and we're going to hear about the police of Quebec, the police of Montreal. They effected 4 search warrants, or 20 of them. There's these names, there are these people, and it's going to get us a bunch of answers to questions that we've always had. And this is the payoff for all our hard work, friend. It's going to come, when we're always wondering what the hell is going on. Very nice, no? It's rewarding to get to this point, man. You feel vindicated. Let's keep going, pal. So, by the way, hit the like button and subscribe, and join us as we go on this adventure together throughout the months, and uncover these Canadian mysteries. So the number of occupants unknown for that building, I guess, because there's a fire, of course. People living upstairs in the hotel, it says. So I guess it was a hotel on top. Checks out. We're in the old port. These are all the other stuff. Doesn't matter. Now it says the building, that very same building, of which a part has crumbled because of the fire, was also harboring a cafe at the main floor, right? So far we know that the restaurant Loam was on the main floor, but now we learned there was also a cafe in the main floor, and also sort of like a hotel or a motel, I'm not sure, but for youth, of 20 rooms for youths. I don't know what the word is for in English. I wish I could. It would be a much better description, but that's the best I can do. I can't recall. I just know the word in French. Now, La Presse, being reporters, they tried to contact by telephone the directors or owners of this youth residence, and it's not a prison, not that kind of youth residence. It's more you go rent rooms, guys. You know what I'm saying? Maybe for students, maybe for stuff like that. So they got the idea. They said, hey, let's call them and see if they got extorted. That's what I think so far. Let's see. So the guy, when they called, he asked him, so how many people live there? Whatever. The guy refused to give any information or to speak. Okay. One person was transported to the hospital. So it was not only a woman and a child that were the victim. Another person had severe burns, unfortunately. All right, we're going to skip the the police stuff. It's not really, don't worry, you're not missing anything. I'm making sure of that. Hatim Benalouane, sorry. So there's a name. Numerous evacuated. So Hatim Benalouane lived like a few steps from the fire. He's one of the people who had to leave the building in the middle of the night, right? Because they evacuate the neighboring ones. What he says: the buildings are old, they burn fast, and it was threatening to crumble on my side too. It's not a good morning for me, but at least I'm safe. All right. Here you have a picture to see what the hell happened. We're going to skip the stuff that's not useful for us. Interesting. This building, this patrimonial building that we're talking about, that had the restaurant Loam and the cafe and the people living there with the youth rental units and all that, is owned by Émile Benamour, a person named Émile Benamour. Those kinds of people who probably do not mind wages not going up, and they want to basically play. They love to see property prices go up and wages to stay low, and have stocks and watch their stocks go up by infinite amount and play casino. Those kinds of people that are in power and really have the most influence in Canada. Those kinds of people. This last one also is the owner of another building situated in Place Diouville, who was also razed by flames, having cost the life of 7 people on March 16th, 2023. I thought that was worthy of reading there. Could it just be a mere coincidence? We'll leave it at that. Not an added word to this. Now, okay, we're going to skip the testimonies again from people living there. Okay. Yeah, they're talking about the structural integrity of the building. We don't care. Now, okay, so now continuing with the owner Ben Amor, just in case. The properties of Mr. Ben Amor is likely that they are under heavy surveillance. According to Abdel Hak Sari, spokesperson of the official opposition of the Hôtel de Ville, I forgot what you call it, the mayor's house or something like that. I forgot the word. Politics, guys. Sorry, I don't know how to translate this. These are ministers and public officials, right? The sellouts, too, who are also part of the problem. It says, when we have 2 fires less than 2 years apart on the same owner for the same type of building usage, we know what we must prioritize, he says. Anyways, the only people really benefiting from the influx of extra people. Keep wages down and keep benefiting from playing casino, while other people can't even afford to buy homes. Have them fight for scraps, man. We're really proud of having citizens like this control the country. Their opinions matter more than you. Their votes really matter. They can actually lobby the government, pay millions, and buy them out. Gotta love Canada, man. All right. Just trying to see something. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna skip this. We're good. This is just historical stuff. Now, there's a second article on this news. We need to get everything crossed, guys, so we don't miss any details. I want to make sure, especially what has to do with gangs. Here we have it. It starts right away for us. The organization called Arab Power could be at the origin of this fire that cost a mother and child their life. We're not going to read it word for word because it's going to be a lot of repeat. I'm going to save some time here. This group is profiting from the debts of business owners and restaurant owners during the pandemic by doing extortions. I do not understand. But apparently this information came from other people in the restaurant business. Let's see what they're talking about. I'm going to skip some of this stuff here. They're talking about Emile Ben Amor again. Let's keep going. So 23 people were inside the building when that happened. Let's keep going. Sorry about this, guys. Yep, that's it. We're going to keep going. Now, the phenomenon has become worse since the emergence of a new criminal group called Arab Power. Now, many sources explained to La Presse, this newspaper, okay, no, the sentence doesn't matter. The sentence doesn't make any sense, and I don't want to waste time spending on that. Not really worth it. Stuff, nothing new. So people are talking to the newspaper, giving them information, whatnot. So the usual activities that they noticed in the area is fires, rounds being sent off, threats to owners of establishments in the last few months, and it's a lot of it has to, well, almost all of it has to do with extortion. Let's be real. Now they're trying to give us a reason. They're trying to give us a reason. That's the important part here. The numerous attempts at extortion could be explained via a link with the situation of the fragile and desperate situation that restaurant owners felt during the pandemic. It says confirms or say multiple people between them, or multiple people in the underworld. What does that mean? Are you saying that they were not making enough income? People were not leaving their home? That's true. They were not eating at restaurants. That's true. Restaurants were still having to pay that exorbitant amount of rent. Well, you could thank the guys playing casino with real estate for that. The real lords of Canada, and so the restaurants could not pay, and they're saying that since they couldn't, they were almost bankrupt. It put them in a bad financial situation. What does that mean? You're saying they borrowed money from Arab Power? All these restaurants? I don't know, man. That sounds weird, far-fetched to me. Okay, maybe one guy, one or two. I don't know, man. Let's see. Certain owners of restaurants, bars, or nightclubs in downtown may have borrowed money from other business owners, or they were in the same business as them during the pandemic. The times were then very difficult for these restaurant, club owners, bar owners because of the sanitary restrictions, right? Hence, the lenders would be tied to certain of these criminal organizations, and that's how they got their foothold in. Now, this is maybe true, maybe not true. We'll leave it at that. I'll try not to comment on this, but you probably know how I already feel about this. Sure, I think there's a few apples like that, but that's not a phenomenon. That's, you know what I mean? That's my opinion anyways. Now continuing, La Presse says, our sources does not exclude the fact that a group like Arab Power would have commanded the Molotov attack on Friday, the one in Loam restaurant, with the mother and woman killed accidentally as a result. Or is it accidental? You know what you're doing. There's a chance of this happening. It's not a surprise, man. It's not rocket science. It's in the same building you're trying to cause fire to. Which would have, would cause the death, it says here. Certain sources from the underworld have advanced that another restaurant owner who is close to the underworld, to criminal groups, has also played a role in this attack. This person, this restaurant or business owner, club owner, whatever it is, someone who operates in the area, that basically, this person allegedly would be the owner of multiple companies, of which multiple establishments in the downtown areas. So it would benefit him, I guess. Take it as you will. It's speculation with not anything there for us to validate. Far-fetched? No, maybe not far-fetched. These prison street gangs who they live and sleep and breathe downtown 24/7. And I used to know. I had a childhood friend that back in the days, decades ago. I know how this works. He was part of this. Fortunately, he's no longer here, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to see it. The government of Canada got rid of him and kicked him out. But they're there 24/7. They're there at night, Friday, Saturday. They don't sleep. They hang out, but they're not really hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting to see how this will never end. You know, it's not. It has nothing to do with a certain individual. This way, this lifestyle continues. You could see it now. There's a lot of these. I'm assuming Arab power were in their in their daddy's ballsack, and here they are, 20 years later, taking that guy I told you about his place, doing the same thing as him. Let's keep going. Crazy, man. You know, you're humanity, man. The fire that happened on Friday might be a target of a public investigation, indicated the Minister of Public Security, François Bonnardel. So you guys effed up hard. Having fun burning these patrimonial buildings. Now you're gonna get the real investigations up your butt. If there was going to be another police squad formed, investigator team formed, then they're going to be required to get a result by a certain date, going to get the funding, and you're going to be the target, just like Yunis Yataki, whatever that guy names, Arab Power, when they were taking pictures of him scratching his balls, shirtless, going downtown, driving everywhere he went. His whole operation, they were filming him. It was not hard to wait for him to do something and then eventually know he was there at that time, so we have all the evidence. Now you're going to all be under the thumb like that for something. What was a stupid move to do, to be honest. Burning the patrimonial building with people on top living there. Bad idea, man. Bad idea. Well, you got your reward, you know. They say play stupid games, win stupid prizes. There you go. So you're definitely going to wake up the beast now. Plus, you got a woman and child killed. And based on our history here in Quebec, the last time this happened, it was a child. Look what happened to that with the biker war stuff. I don't know. I'm just an observer of history here. It's not every day that a child gets killed over stuff like this. It was 20, 30 years ago. Now, who is Arab power in the spotlight? You know, great way to also tarnish the reputation of all Arabs. You know, people are tired of immigration in Canada. They're sick and tired of it. Take too many people. Getting a job is laughably hard now. Just good luck even getting a work at Walmart. Did you see the videos on the internet showing you the lines and lines and lines of people going to career day in Canada? Lines and lines, and you look at the line and you can visibly see 99% of them on this kilometer line, they just got in the country like a year ago. But what about all the other people that've been here and they need a job and they're struggling? They can't pay they're wondering how they're going to pay their rent. Doesn't matter for them. They're screwed now. Good luck. All of you together, good luck. But it's already hard enough for those people. They just want a better life. They're not really to blame here, because they think that it's the land of milk and honey in Canada. And it's all for sale. It's all free to go. There's 10 jobs for you waiting, 20 jobs waiting for you. Little do they know the people who've been here, they're getting spit on the face. Spit on the face, treated like dirt, and it's being told, yeah, man, you do need now. We got so many supply of people looking for a minimum wage job right now that you need experience to work here. Sorry, Yeah, you're basically 10 years ago, this job, we would hire anyone. We needed people. Now we don't really need anyone. So now are you 6'6"? Do you wake up at 8 for fun or not? Is your nails cut? I don't know. Do you have maybe do you have 10 years experience? Yeah, sorry. We got lines of people waiting, man. Got a kilometer line waiting. And they're coming in by the boatloads too. But yeah, that's why wages don't increase. Welcome to Canada, man. Beautiful. But now all those people who, they don't know, they come here, they think it's a land of milk and honey, then they find out Canada's a nightmare. You know how many times I heard that story of people that came to Canada who are here from these countries, for example, and they're saying, I was lied to, man. Canada's not at all what I thought. Yep, welcome to the slavery. And then you're gonna see, you're gonna get you're gonna join us. You're with us now. Wait a couple of years, you'll be on the other side looking in, and you're gonna say, "Whoa, we're getting screwed here. I'm basically, I have no life, and I can't go anywhere." But yeah, it's all. Anyways, good job, Arab power, naming yourself Arab power and causing havoc to the city, making it even worse for those innocent people, making them look worse. You had to use that name. I feel bad for all the Arabs. They already have to deal with the 9/11 stuff. They already have to deal with all the hatred for them and all that stuff. And when you look at ISIS, you look at that, who took their religion, and then when they took it and they went on the complete wrong end, And now you see they just full of bad examples for them. It's already hard enough for some of them to get jobs, and when there's another candidate whose name is not Arab Power, and he says, "Well, why would I take Arab Power? I have a Timothy Greeneye here. I think I'll take my chances with Timothy Greeneyes. We have a plethora of choices right now. Gonna make it harder for him. But you called yourself Arab Power. Good job, guys. Give a bad name to all Arab people. The innocent ones. There's too many of them. They're 99%. Anyways, let's keep going. Let's keep reading. So, it says here, it's a relatively new criminal group. The majority of the actors come from Laval, it says. Many are Many are close friends to the criminal underworld, Lebanese mob, if you will, or of the gang called Block Mafia. We spoke about that yesterday, right? We figured out what was the name, the gangster's name? They said he was allegedly used to be Block Mafia. We just spoke about a guy yesterday's video. If you wonder who it is, you can find out one of their known gang member names. So it's a street gang from Chomedzi. That's Laval, guys. Laval. Affirms our police sources. The heads of this group are identified by the cops as Younes Aitaki, alias Frérot. That means brother. Do you remember the picture I told you yesterday? We talked about him in depth. The last 2-3 videos, we were discovering about him. We're discovering about him over here for the first time, and familiarizing us with the main players. We had him. We had a Sylvain Kabuchi as well. We heard about him, called Haboub. They are both incarcerated for offings, right? No surprise there. We spoke about that. But this is not stopping them from completing their missions, their criminal activities. No, rather the opposite. Because think about it. Would you be able to burn a building downtown if they had anything to do with it? Maybe not. Let's just pretend they are. Let's just pretend. Do you think that the person who burned it Thursday night will do it without asking the leader if it's okay? Because you're setting off a bunch of events after that. The cops can come and you can you can get yourself offed for doing something stupid out of your own volition here, right? So there you have it. So probably not. But we don't know yet. But for example, Sylvain Kabuchi was accused this summer of having offed 2 men. Or it happened not this summer, right? It happened the other summer. Maybe I'm misreading here. Sometimes I forget how to read. The police are suspecting that him, Sylvain Kabuchi, and certain accomplices had commanded these offings and numerous other violent events while they were in prison. Remember, we talked about, it was yesterday, before yesterday, they one person was an informer, they believed, and the wording was they lacerated his tongue. That was the wording. Don't know what that means, but you get it. Arab Power, while in prison, already once, I guess they were busted for trying to get something delivered by drone in certain establishments in prison. Yeah, we may have spoken about that when it happened too. That does remind me. I think they said that he also ordered a pizza as a joke. I think that was hilarious. Honestly, I think that was fucking hilarious. Now, we're learning something new here. Look at this. So Arab power are actually in conflict with another group led by none other than Atna Ona, alias Tupac, another important organized crime figure in Montreal. Does this line up with us so far? Yes, it does. I like when it lines up and it does not contradict some other thing, because then it tells us we're on the right path more than likely. We're speculating, but we're usually, when this happens more and more, we're like, it's a relief. It's a sigh of relief for me. Why I'm saying this? Remember, Atna Ona was seen in that park 4 or 5 years ago, unless the situation changed and they're enemies now. But he was meeting Hell's Angels, clear as day, in the park. We have the pictures. That's not a speculation, right? He was meeting with them. And we know that Arab Power just sent allegedly may have sent a 14-year-old kid indirectly to go to the Hells Angels bunker or Red Devils to burn that up. And we know that those Hells Angels are at war with the BFM. So clearly, the Arab Power people, we could say that's not, well, you don't know, that's just one event. Well, there's also the other event where the leader of Arab Power is meeting, is good friends, and not just good friends, business partners with Markins Villemay, who went allegedly to Ontario to help off Hell's Angel. By the way, I got confused. I thought that guy's name was Dirty Sanchez on a previous video, because based on a comment someone was typing a few months ago, and then I saw Dirty Sanchez again in a comment, so I may have confused it. I don't think that was his nickname. I think you're talking about another black street gang member. Okay, I'm just saying black because I found it hilarious the guy named himself Dirty Sanchez. I just wanted to tell you that. I thought that was hilarious if you named yourself that. For once, we have a street gang member who use an original name. Usually they have those rapper names. I'm tired of it. At least you called yourself that, bro. You have some originality out of all of them. But yeah, I may have confused. I'm no longer sure that was his nickname for the Hells Angels, and it didn't make sense too much. I always found that odd, but I'm leaning on no, because I read another comment last night. Someone else named someone else Dirty S. So, and I think that's it. So I just wanted to clear that up too, just in case. Not just in case, just to be clear here for the previous video. But coming back to this, just note that it says here, very important here, very, very important here. It says Arab Power is in conflict with Atna Ona, the guy we saw meeting Hells Angels in the park 4 or 5 years ago. And we know Arab Power already, they have a friend, or they're directly or indirectly involved with offing a Hells Angel in Ontario. We know they're directly or indirectly involved in sending that kid to the bunker in Quebec to help the BFM. And here we are reading that he's at odds with Atna Ona. Things are lining up perfect for us if all of our speculation seems to be corroborated here. Now, extortion, how does it work? It says here, in order to enrich themselves and to gain a foothold of territory, or gain I don't know the word, just gain territory, or gain a foothold, I guess, on certain commerces, these criminal groups could attack their establishments by multiple means. Armed incidences, fires, yes, of course, misdeeds, threats, okay, nothing new. Now, it says they will often go as far as lying to their victims, the businesses, by making them believe that the attack does not come from them. They play the Good Samaritans, says the owner of a place, that he said it happened to him. They came to offer him help, and I'm assuming he was suspicious of this. I can confirm to you, well, it's not really a confirmation. It's not a confirmation at all. But I do remember hearing this strategy being employed in stories of American mobsters. So it's quite it's not a Montreal thing. This is how it's done. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Now, certain businesses who refuse will be attacked repeatedly, and that's what we've seemed to have seen all year round when me and you were covering this, we would say, here's a list of cafes. Here's their names one by one. I name them, and then I get to a couple of them, and I say, it says here this one was burned on this date, and then a week later it was burned again, and then I'd say this other cafe got burned twice in a row, the one day after the other. Remember that? There you go, guys. We're getting all. This is what it's. If it's happening in Montreal, we know now what's probably happening. We don't need to go reach farther than this. Today is 2 articles. They give us a lot to digest. But we got the names coming out. Okay, yeah, anyways, doesn't matter. The rest doesn't really matter. All right, there you go, guys. 2 major articles today. Now, I don't know why they pulled Arab Power. Like, imagine there's this fire in the old Montreal, and you're a news reporter. You presented us with no like evidence at all, but you say, but you're talking about this fire, and then you say, oh, by the way, there's a new criminal group called Arab Power. So what are you really trying to tell us is you have there's a good chance these 4, they actually have a storyline. They actually have someone who told them what's really happening. And they're not completely, like, they don't just randomly come up with Arab Power in this article and this place just burned in downtown. I don't believe that. I think they know some things they cannot really tell us. And maybe the police, maybe they spoke to police. And remember, there are anonymous sources in the police department who don't want to get fired, and they got some clues, and they know that no, in this area, this neighborhood, this is what it's been happening. And actually, they even showed us the trails, right? Remember, we checked the maps here, we checked a few businesses, and who did who. We had a bit of a storyline, so things are lining up to this. There's a high. So I was gonna say you can't say for sure it's Arab Power. For sure, fine, you can't say for sure, but man, is it lining up for that, it looks like. By all logic. By logic and reasonableness. Let me just say reasonable deduction. It's going to go there. There you go, man. So, anyways, man, I don't want. The video is already long enough, but it needed to be as it needed. It needed to be this to translate it word for word. You didn't miss a single beat here. Every little detail, every links that we could do. We checked the maps, showed you the geography. We got some names. We finally found out that Atna Ona. You see how everything eventually links together for us. All the hard work. If you've been with us, if you haven't missed a single episode, if you've listened to them diligently, you would appreciate. You would really come to appreciate what we landed on today, man. Really big freaking time, as I am right now. Crazy how destiny happens, right? And we're gonna have much more, friend. Can I give you guys a shout out to my friends here, thanking them for being here all this time, hanging out. Adam Rogers, what's up, buddy? Mr. J Rock, my name is Ting. Gagnon Alain, Music Brazilian, Wild One, Man in the Middle. What's up, buddy? Hope you're doing okay. Big 50. Thank you, Big 50. Welcome back, bud. Hope you're enjoying this. Real Socrates 52. Thank you so much. Parma Gianni also. And Noki A62. And also the other silent bunch that's with us. And the people who are donors to the channel, thank you very, very much. François Tremblay, man, I forgot the names. There's just so many people. I apologize, but you too, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you. And yeah, man. So I'll keep you up to date, guys. Up to date on what we get. Just no updates soon. Not yet, but they will probably slow down. Probably. And yeah, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you want, join the memberships. It's $3. It's like a newspaper. It's cheaper than a newspaper, but the newspaper you only get today's news, and that's it. And you have to buy another one every day if you want the news every day. Not over here, friend. I work for you all the time. It's for the entire month, but it's a donation. It's not mandatory at all, but it's a donation. It just helps your boy to counter what YouTube does to him. Yeah, censors his videos, demonetizes them. I leave some of them on, and they milk me. They still play the ads and all that. I get practically nothing. And honestly, even the ones who get monetized, it's a few pennies. It's not worth doing all of this. I do it because I enjoy hanging out with you. But if you want to support my work, feel free. There's no obligation there, but it's appreciated. And Anthony Serrano, what's up, buddy? I think I missed. Yeah, I did not say Anthony Serrano. Shout out to Anthony Serrano and also Sonic Eat. Sonic Eat. Thanks, guys, and everyone else also. Thank you very much.